My name is Elise, I'm 38, and lately, I feel like I've been watching my life from the outside, like I'm submerged under glass, knocking on the barrier, trying to get someone to notice I'm still in here. It started with the scissors. Not mine, theirs. My mother's hands shaking as she held my daughter's arms down, my sister pinning her knees. And my father, silent but present, like a goddamn sentry. And my daughter, screaming. Her hair, scattered across the tile like pieces of her. It was rage, control, generational rot passed down like heirlooms. They called it discipline. But it did something else. It cracked something in me. Not because of what they did, but because when I told Jeremy, my husband of 15 years, he blinked slowly, like I was describing a dream he wasn't interested in. Maybe it was for the best, he said, turning back to the email on his phone. I'm still not sure if he meant the haircut or the silence that followed. 15 years. We used to be fire, not just in bed, but in the everyday electricity. Texts that made me blush at work. Sex in the kitchen while pasta boiled over. He used to know the exact way to touch me, like I was a lock he had the key to, and he was careful, reverent, thrilled every time it worked. Now, when he touches me, it's like he's following an old recipe with expired ingredients. His hand slips under my shirt as we sit on the couch, the same time every night, the same half-hearted stroke. It used to make me melt. Last night, I flinched. Not because I didn't want him, but because it felt like a reflex. Like he wasn't seeing me, just reaching for what he assumed was his. I used to meet him halfway, pull him close, kiss his neck, giggle into his collarbone. Now, sometimes I hold still just to see if he notices. If he asks why I've gone quiet. He never does. I know marriage changes. I'm not naive. I know kids, bills, mortgage, grief, they all press their weight on a love until it groans. But this is different. This is erosion. Tiny pieces of myself washing away every time I smile and pretend I'm not aching for something real. I remember the last time I really wanted him. It was a Saturday morning. He was making pancakes with Ava, our daughter. She had her hair piled in a messy bun, flour on her nose. He kissed the top of her head, then turned and caught me watching him. That smile, my God, that smile, it landed like it used to. Sudden, hungry, mine. He walked over, lifted me onto the counter without a word. His mouth was warm and sure on mine. It didn't lead to anything, not with Ava in the room, but it was charged. It said, I see you. I haven't felt seen in months. Now, it's all logistics. Have you paid the dentist? Did you wash Ava's uniform? What time is the meeting? Even our kisses have become a kind of punctuation. Hello. Goodbye. Good night. Periods. Not commas. Not exclamation points. Certainly not ellipses. I miss the ellipses. The night my parents held Ava down, I felt something deep in my chest shatter, and what was worse, it wasn't just rage or helplessness or guilt. It was the sharp, cold understanding that I had no safe place to take it. Not even to him. He told me I was overreacting. That they were trying to help. That I was making it into something it wasn't. That night, I curled into his chest out of habit. He held me, arms looping around my shoulders, warm but distant. His lips brushed my temple and I waited. For him to say something. Anything. For him to ask how I was, to let me fall apart without judgment. Instead, he fell asleep. I lay awake, listening to his breathing. The weight of his arm around me began to feel like a restraint. And the thought came, unbidden and terrifying, this isn't the man I built my life with. This is the man I'm disappearing next to. That was the moment. The exact second I knew something had changed, not with him. With me. I'm not safe here anymore. Not in my family's house. Not in my marriage. Not even in my own skin. And I don't know how to get back to the version of myself that believed I ever was. Jeremy was raised by nurses. His mother and father both worked long, punishing shifts at the county hospital. They believed in structure, in doing the right thing, in getting back up and not dwelling. Feelings were like wounds. Clean them, cover them, move on. Jeremy became a high school chemistry teacher. Logical, calm, protective in a quiet, composed way. He shows love by fixing things, by solving. So when I started to pull away, not obviously, just in small ways, like flinching when he brushed my back or going to bed before him, he doubled down in the only way he knew how. Touch. He started bringing me coffee in bed, kissing my neck while I loaded the dishwasher, slipping behind me while I folded laundry, hands on my waist, lips on my shoulder. It used to make me moan. Now it makes me want to shrink. Because underneath it, there's something missing. Something I can't seem to ask for without sounding ungrateful. It's a Thursday night. We're watching some forgettable show on Netflix, and Jeremy's got his hand on my thigh, fingers tracing circles he probably doesn't even realize are the same ones he used to make when we were 23 and insatiable. I can't focus on the show. I can't focus on his hand. I can't stop replaying Ava's voice screaming, "Stop!" Or the blank, almost bored look on my father's face as he cut the first lock of her hair. Jeremy's hand inches higher. "Don't," I whisper, more to myself than to him. He pauses. "Don't what?" I shift away, gently but deliberately. "Just, not right now." There's a beat of silence. He exhales, just enough to make it a statement. "Okay," he says, not looking at me. I see the flash of hurt before he buries it, and I want to explain. I do. But how do you explain that it's not about sex? That I'm not rejecting him, I'm starving for him, just not like that? "I'm tired," I say instead. Which is true, but not the whole truth. I want him to ask, "Tired how?" I want him to see me trying to hold myself together. I want him to put the need to touch me on hold long enough to just sit with me in the mess of what I'm feeling. He doesn't. He nods, gets up, grabs a beer from the fridge. We fall into silence again, and I feel the heat of his confusion, his quiet resentment, drifting across the room like smoke. Later, in bed, he tries again. This time with more intention. A kiss behind my ear. His hand beneath my shirt. His body curving against mine. I freeze. It's not revulsion. It's not indifference. It's fury. That he still thinks this is how you reach me. "Jeremy," I say, rolling away from him. "Please don't." He sits up. "Jesus, Elise." I'm trying. And there it is. The word that always turns a bruise into a war. I sit up too, crossing my arms without thinking. "Trying what?" "To be close to you," he says, voice tight. "You keep acting like I'm the enemy." "I'm not acting. I'm asking for something else." "What else?" he snaps. "You don't talk to me, Elise. You barely look at me. And then when I try, you try with your hands, Jeremy." My voice cracks. "Not your words. Not your heart." He stares at me like I'm speaking a language he never learned. "What do you want me to say?" he asks, but it's not curiosity, it's defense. It's fear. "I can't fix what happened with your parents. I can't undo it. I told you they were wrong, didn't I?" "No," I say, shaking my head. "You didn't. You said it was maybe for the best. You minimized it because it made you uncomfortable. And now you want to touch me like it never happened." He rubs his face with both hands, sighing like I've exhausted him. "Elise, I didn't know it meant that much to you." And that sentence, that one, is the one that breaks me open. It meant everything. It was a line in the sand. It was my daughter screaming for help while the people who were supposed to love her violated her autonomy. And it was me, standing there, frozen, too conditioned to be a good daughter, to be a good mother in that moment. And when I came home, raw and horrified, the man I built a life with didn't offer sanctuary. He offered logic. He offered distance. He offered a version of love that couldn't hold my pain. I can't say all that. Not now. Not without sobbing. So instead, I say the coward's version. I just need space. Jeremy nods, jaw clenched. He pulls away. Turns his back to me in bed, like he used to when we'd fight about stupid things, bills, vacations, forgotten birthdays. But this feels bigger. More final. I stare at the ceiling, trying to remember the last time we fell asleep facing each other. It's been years. And I wonder if it'll ever happen again. Jeremy's been trying more lately. He'll start the dishwasher without me asking. He picks up Ava from school with her favorite snack in the passenger seat. He makes dinner twice a week now, pasta, tacos, once even grilled salmon, which he overcooked but plated beautifully. It's sweet. It is. But underneath it, I feel this slow, aching drift, like a song I used to love playing too quietly in another room. It's Saturday morning and I'm wiping crumbs off the counter. The sun's coming through the kitchen windows, warm and gentle. Ava's outside in the yard doing cartwheels, her hair in a short bob now, the ends still jagged from that day. She's growing into it, but every time I see it, something tightens in my throat. Jeremy comes up behind me. His hands slide around my waist, and I stiffen without meaning to. He nuzzles into my neck and murmurs, "You smell like oranges." It should be sweet. It is, sort of. But all I can think is, this is how it always starts. His fingers inch beneath the hem of my t-shirt. My skin goes cold. I say, gently pulling away. He lets his hands fall but doesn't back off. He turns me around and leans in, kissing me. Not urgent, just soft, lingering. The kind of kiss that used to make me melt. I try. I do. I kiss him back, press my lips to his and count in my head, 1, 2, 3. But I feel nothing. Like kissing someone else's memory. My mind is already in the laundry, in the grocery list, in that frozen image of Ava screaming. My body is here, but I'm not. He pulls back slightly. His eyes search mine. That was nothing for you, huh? I exhale through my nose. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. There's a pause. One of those heavy ones that doesn't fill with words. I'm trying, Elise, he says quietly. I know. He looks down at the floor, like he's studying it. You used to want me all the time. I swallow. I hate how defensive that makes me feel. Yeah, things change. Do they? His voice is still soft, but sharper around the edges now. Or is it just me who changed? I want to say no, it's me too. That I want him. That I miss him. That I miss me. But I can't find the words without unraveling completely, and Ava's just outside the window doing cartwheels. So I shrug. A shrug can mean anything. He steps back, shaking his head. Not angry. Just confused. And I think that's worse. I've made him feel like a stranger in his own marriage. Later that night, we're watching something on TV, neither of us paying attention. His hand reaches out to squeeze my thigh, playful. His thumb brushes just a little too high. I flinch before I can stop myself. He notices. He pulls his hand back like it burned him. Jesus, he mutters under his breath. I'm sorry, I say quickly, panicked, like I've hurt him. He doesn't answer. We sit in the glow of the TV, saying nothing, breathing at different tempos. And I wonder, when did his touch start feeling like a demand instead of a connection? When did love become something I had to brace for? I close my eyes and lean my head back against the couch. In the silence of my own mind, the thought comes again, not bitter, not angry, just tired and raw and echoing. Why does everything have to turn into sex? It happens on a Sunday. We're eating dinner at the table, the three of us, with soft jazz playing on the speaker and candles flickering like we're pretending it's date night instead of a half-hearted attempt to reconnect. Jeremy grilled chicken and made asparagus, plating everything neatly, too neatly, like he was hosting instead of living here. Ava is telling us about her art project. Her hands move excitedly, her voice rising with pride as she describes the collage she made of women who fight back. I smile. My chest swells for her. And then I see her hair again, those uneven ends. The ones my sister hacked at while my mother called her defiant. While I just stood there, stunned and hollow. I miss my long hair sometimes, Ava says lightly, reaching for her water. But it's kind of cool now. Like, it makes me look braver. I stop chewing. Something in my throat closes. Jeremy doesn't look up. You do look brave, he says with a smile. You handled all that like a champ. Ava beams. And I snap. Are you kidding me? I say suddenly, the fork clattering from my hand. Both their heads jerk toward me. Jeremy blinks. What? She shouldn't have had to handle anything, Jeremy. She was held down. By my family. She was screaming. And you're calling it brave like it was a dentist appointment. Ava looks startled. Mom, no, I say, voice cracking now. I'm sorry, sweetie, but I can't keep acting like this didn't happen. You were hurt. You were violated. And no one, not one goddamn adult, stepped in fast enough. Jeremy puts his fork down, calm but tight. We've talked about this. No, we haven't. I talked. You listened and then you decided it wasn't a big deal. That's not fair. Isn't it? Ava stares at her plate. My heart aches, but I can't stop. It's like something in me has been jammed up for weeks, and it's finally spilling out, messy and loud and too late. I needed you, I say, my voice trembling. That night, when I came home, I needed my husband. I needed someone to be angry with me for her. But you, I wave a hand toward him, helpless. You just shut down. You brushed it off like we'd overreacted. Jeremy's face hardens. Because I didn't think piling on more chaos was going to help. You wanted me to, what? Drive over there and scream at your parents. I wanted you to feel something. The words are out before I can filter them. I wanted to know I wasn't crazy. That what they did was insane and cruel and damaging. But you just shrugged. You said it was maybe for the best. You made me feel like I was being dramatic. Silence. Ava's eyes are wide, her mouth slightly open. I realize she's not used to seeing us like this. We argue sometimes, sure, but not like this. Not with voices raised and truths laid bare. Jeremy stands up slowly. I'm not doing this in front of her. Why not? I shoot back. We already let her live through the worst part in silence. Elise. His voice is low and firm now, controlled in that way that only makes me feel more out of control. You're spiraling. And that word snaps something in me. I push my chair back and walk out of the dining room without another word, heart pounding, face burning. I go to the bathroom and lock the door. Sit on the floor. Cry. Not a neat, movie-style cry, a guttural, ugly one. The kind that makes your chest hurt and your nose run. The kind that leaves you hollow. I don't even know what I'm crying for anymore. For Ava. For the little girl inside me who was never defended. For the woman I've become who doesn't know how to demand safety without guilt. For Jeremy, who probably is trying in his own way. And for me, because that way no longer feels like enough. I press my forehead to my knees. I was so good at pretending everything was fine. I thought if I just kept moving, kept mothering, kept performing wifehood like a play I used to love, no one would notice that I was drifting. But now it's out there. The pain. The resentment. The truth I didn't even know I was sitting on until it exploded into dinner. A gentle knock at the door. Elise? Jeremy. I don't answer. Can I come in? I want to say yes. I want to let him in and be held and sob into his chest and pretend like this was just a bad night. But the weight of everything unsaid between us, it's too much. I can't carry it and still hold him too. I stay silent. After a few moments, I hear him sigh and walk away. And I'm left alone with the mess of it all, the plate shards of my rage, the silence of my marriage, the echo of my daughter's voice trying to sound brave. And somewhere, beneath all of it, this tired, awful question, why does everything have to turn into sex? It's been 3 weeks since the fight at the dinner table. No one talks about it. Not really. Ava went back to school with her cropped hair and a new art project. Jeremy still teaches his AP chemistry class, still leaves his coffee mug in the sink like always, still folds his socks like a Marine even though he never was one. But the house feels like it's holding its breath. We orbit each other like we're afraid of collisions. Every interaction is cautious, clipped, polite. Did you get milk? Yeah, it's in the fridge. I paid the electric bill. Okay, thanks. Our voices used to be warmer than this. We used to touch each other when we passed in the hallway. Now it's like we're trying not to stir sleeping ghosts. Jeremy sleeps facing the wall now. Not out of anger, that part has faded. What's left is something heavier. Something sadder. He still cooks dinner. Still brings Ava her allergy meds without being asked. But his smiles don't reach his eyes anymore. He doesn't try to touch me, not even the casual kind. No hand at the small of my back. No kiss on the crown of my head when I'm reading. He used to do that every night. Now, I think he's afraid to reach for me and find nothing there again. And here's the worst part, the thing I hate admitting even to myself. I miss him. Not just the man he was. The man he is. The way he still puts my favorite tea on the grocery list without asking. The way he kneels to help Ava with her shoelaces even though she insists she's too old. The quiet grief I see in his face when he looks at me like I'm slipping through his fingers and he doesn't know how to hold on without breaking me. I want to reach for him. I do. But something in me stays frozen. Like I'm waiting for a signal that it's safe, not just emotionally, but physically. That if I open up, he won't immediately wrap it in sex, trying to patch things with his body when what I need is his heart. This morning, I watched him from the hallway as he stood in the kitchen making pancakes for Ava. He dropped the spatula and said shit under his breath, then quickly glanced toward her to see if she heard. She didn't. He laughed, quietly, to himself, a small, exhausted laugh. It hit me then, how tired he looks lately. How this distance isn't just happening to me. He's in it too. Hurting in his own way. He's not the villain. He never was. He's a man who's trying to reach his wife with the only language he knows, and I've been responding in silence, withdrawal, cold refusals. I think part of me wanted to punish him. For not getting angry with me. For not defending Ava the way I wanted. For making me feel alone in a moment that tore through everything I believed about family and protection and trust. But it wasn't fair. He didn't know what I needed. And I never told him, not really. I just expected him to read the panic in my eyes and translate it. Last night, he left a clean stack of laundry on my side of the bed. I noticed one of my old sweaters folded on top, the one I hadn't worn in months. He must have found it crumpled behind the dryer. He folded it carefully, sleeves tucked in. Something about that broke me a little. He still cares. And I still love him. But that love feels buried under layers of hurt and shame and confusion. I've been so tangled up in what I didn't get that I forgot to see what he's still offering. And I don't know how to say that to him without unraveling. Without admitting how much I miss the sound of his laugh when I tease him. The way he used to slide a hand across the sheets at night just to check if I was there. The way his body used to feel like home. I want him. Not for sex. For us. I want to curl into him like I used to, when the world was too much. I want him to hold me while I cry and not ask why. I want him to sit beside me on the bathroom floor and say, "It wasn't your fault." But I also want him to understand that touch doesn't always mean connection. That sometimes, I just need to feel safe first. So now I'm here, sitting in my car outside the grocery store with a half-melted pint of ice cream on the passenger seat, asking myself the question I've been afraid of for weeks. Do I still want this? Not the routine. Not the logistics. Not the habit. But him. Us. The marriage. And I realize yes. I do. But not like this. Not in silence. Not in shadows. I have to tell him what I need. Even if I don't say it perfectly. Even if I cry. Even if he doesn't respond the way I hope. I owe that much to myself. And to the man who folded my sweater like it still mattered. When I come home, the lights are dimmed. The house smells like cumin and garlic. Jeremy made chickpea curry, something he only does when he's trying to soothe. I wonder if it was for me or for himself. Ava is already in bed. Her backpack is at the foot of the stairs, her sneakers lined up too perfectly next to it. She's been watching us. Quietly measuring the distance. Trying not to pick a side. Jeremy's in the living room, curled up with a book. Glasses on, the ones he only wears when he's tired. There's an untouched bowl of curry on the coffee table in front of him. Mine. He looks up when I walk in. Doesn't say anything at first. "Hey," I offer, my voice soft. Hey. He closes the book and sets it aside, studies me. You okay? I nod, but it's not convincing. I sit down on the edge of the couch, cross my legs underneath me. I owe you something, I say, staring at the floor. An apology. He stays quiet, not pushing, just listening. It's something I always loved about him. He lets silences breathe. I've been angry, I continue. Not just about what happened with Ava, but everything. The way it brought up old stuff I didn't even realize I was carrying. And I think I wanted you to fix it. Or carry it for me. He exhales slowly. I didn't know how. I know, I say, looking at him now. And that's what I should have said. Instead of shutting down. Instead of making you feel like you were failing just by trying. Jeremy rubs the back of his neck. I didn't know what you needed. And when I tried, it always seemed like the wrong thing. It wasn't wrong, I say. It just wasn't what I was ready for. He nods. We sit in that for a while, the ache of missed cues, of good intentions that landed like slaps. I miss you, he says, finally. But I've been afraid to touch you. Afraid I'd make it worse. That hurts more than anything. That this man, who used to slide behind me at the sink and make me laugh just by breathing against my ear, now treats my body like a locked door. I want us back, I say. But not the version where we pretend. Not the quiet drifting. I want us messy honest. I want to stop being scared of telling you what I actually feel. Jeremy shifts forward, elbows on his knees. Can we do that? After everything? I think we have to try. He looks at me for a long time. Then he reaches out, slowly, and takes my hand. His thumb grazes mine like he's relearning me, testing the current between us. It's the first time in weeks that I don't flinch. I squeeze his hand. He stands and walks toward the hallway. For a second, I think he's leaving the room, retreating maybe. But instead, he returns with a folded blanket and sets it on the couch. I thought I'd sleep here again tonight, he says carefully. Not to punish either of us. Just to give us space to breathe. Unless you want me to stay. I don't answer right away. Instead, I walk to him. Wrap my arms around his waist. Rest my head against his chest. He smells like turmeric and soap and something familiar I'd forgotten I missed. He hesitates only a second before he wraps his arms around me. It's not a sexy embrace. Not a kiss filled with heat. It's quiet. Grounded. Human. His breath softens against my hair. My body doesn't bristle. It settles. Thank you, I whisper. For still showing up. His lips brush the top of my head. I never left. I pull back slightly, eyes wet. It's going to take time. He nods. We've got time. And we do. Not forever. Not in the way naive lovers believe they do. But time enough if we treat it gently. If we speak. If we listen. Later, when we lie down, side by side, but not yet touching, I let our hands find each other beneath the blanket. Pinky fingers brushing. No pressure. No urgency. Just two people rebuilding. Brick by honest brick. Outside the window, a breeze stirs the trees. Somewhere down the hall, Ava shifts in her sleep. And for the first time in weeks, I let myself believe this house could feel like home again. You don't realize what silence does to a person until you've been living inside it for a while. At first, it feels like safety. Like control. Like, if I just say nothing, if I just keep everything neat and tidy, no one will see the storm inside me. But the truth is, silence isn't safe. It's slow suffocation. You disappear one unspoken sentence at a time. I didn't see it happening to me. Not right away. I thought I was doing the right thing. Keeping the peace. Swallowing things. Letting things go. That's how I was raised, to minimize, to avoid conflict, to believe that being easy to love meant being quiet. Even when it hurt. Especially when it hurt. And when they held my daughter down and cut her hair, when they stripped her of her autonomy in the name of obedience, something ancient in me cracked. Because it wasn't just about that moment. It was about every moment I had stayed small to avoid making people uncomfortable. Every time I'd been told I was too sensitive, too much, too emotional. Every time I'd mistaken being wanted for being heard. I saw myself in her, screaming. And I saw myself in me, standing there, stunned, the good daughter, still too afraid to be the bad woman. And I brought all that back home. To Jeremy. And I expected him to know what to do with it. To hold it. To rage with me. To say, what they did was wrong. You are right to be angry. You are not crazy for feeling this deeply. But Jeremy, he's not built that way. He's not cruel. He's not dismissive. He's just practical, steady, quiet. Raised in a home where the only acceptable emotions were pride and composure. So when I handed him grief soaked in rage, he blinked. And I decided, in that blink, that he didn't care. That he'd failed me. But here's what I know now. People love in the ways they were taught. Some of us learned love through words. Some through actions. Some through silence. And some of us, like me, are still learning that it's okay to ask for what we need. I used to think if he really loved me, he'd just know. But how would he? I barely knew myself. Desire, for me, has always been emotional first. I don't want a hand on my waist unless it's holding the part of me that's afraid. I don't want a kiss unless it knows where I've been. I can't be touched unless I've been seen. And I never said that. Not really. I just recoiled. And he interpreted that as rejection. So we built this quiet, aching distance between us, both of us wanting something, neither of us knowing how to ask for it without sounding like blame. It almost broke us. But it didn't. Because eventually I spoke. Not in anger. Not in fear. But in truth. I told him what I needed. What I missed. What hurt. And he listened. He didn't fix it. He didn't transform overnight. But he stayed. And he softened. And he started to ask questions. And I learned that sometimes love isn't about being right. It's about being real. And being willing to stand in the mess of it without reaching for the nearest escape hatch. We're not perfect now. We probably never were. But we're honest. Sometimes that means sitting in silence together, not apart. Sometimes it means saying, "This isn't working," before it explodes. Sometimes it means sleeping apart when one of us needs space and coming back without punishment or shame. And sometimes it means saying no to touch and still knowing the love hasn't left the room. I've learned that intimacy is not always sex. And sex is not always intimacy. And a kiss can mean everything or nothing, depending on what comes before it. I've learned that desire isn't about how you look or how often you say yes. It's about being known, being held, even in your ugliest truths. And I've learned that my voice, the one I was taught to suppress, is the thing that saves me. And my daughter. Every time. I don't know what the future looks like. Marriage is a living thing. It changes. It gets sick. Sometimes it dies. Sometimes it heals. Ours is healing slowly, clumsily, truthfully. But I know this. I will never again be the woman who watches in silence while the people she loves are hurt. I will never again trade safety for approval. And I will never again believe that shrinking makes me easier to love. I'm not easy. But I'm here. And I'm learning to ask, to feel, to be held and heard. And if that's not love, then I don't want it.